Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here with a new PB&J card class, and this is our first in a series of 10 videos with our Permission to Play video series, where we are taking very simple card sketches and just having some fun with our hobby, having fun playing with these sketches and with some of our favorite products. So just to explain this permission to play idea, I feel like sometimes I need to hear this, so I thought maybe you would too. First, that it's okay to make simple cards. It's okay to do the same sketch and layout over and over. It's okay to mix old and new products. It's okay to be creative and not productive, and to not compare our cards to other people's cards because your recipients don't do that with your cards. Now, 3 simple hacks for making simple cards you're proud of is using embossing folders, quality images, and strong colors. So we'll be using all 3 of those throughout this video series. So here is today's sketch. This is just a basic band sketch. And here is a look. If you watched the prep video, you saw what I had pre-prepped in my envelopes. I'll link that video for you down below in case you missed it. But I'd simply have embossed colored cardstock, some embossed white cardstock, and a band cut from watercolor paper. I've had it in an envelope and now I'm ready to get it out and play. So I have pulled out those bands of watercolor paper. This is Canson 140-pound watercolor paper. I'm stamping my images using Ranger Archival ink in the color of watering can. I do like this ink. One, it's waterproof and I'm going to be painting, but also because it's not a stark black, and so I feel like it just is a little bit softer and lets the colors shine instead of having this stark black outline. So I like to work assembly line style, so I'm going to stamp all of my panels. So here is what I have stamped. And then I also am going to make a card with elegant die cuts, so some cute and some elegant. Now, just a reminder, we have a downloadable ebook that can be purchased that has all of these sketches from the Permission to Play series in it. I'll link that for you down below. So to paint my images, I'm using Distress Ink Reinkers used as watercolors. And I will also link a video for you down below that goes much slower and in a lot more detail of my coloring process, my painting process, if you want to see that, if you haven't seen that yet. But I am just letting myself have fun painting this. I'm not going into a whole lot of detail or a whole lot of shading. And here is where I think using really strong images can help make your simple cards look finished and really eye-catching. That's one thing I really love about Penny Black stamps. All of the stamps are done by very talented artists. They are high quality images. There's not a lot of generic. This is a new stamp, but you'll see I'm also going to be using some older stamps. So a Penny Black stamp, in my mind, it just never goes out of style because of the quality of the stamp. And so you can reach into your stash and pull out stamps that are 10, 15 years old, and they still make cards you're really proud of and that you love. So I am, for this Permission to Play series, mixing and matching some of the old and some of our new stamps that recently came out. And I like to do that. It keeps me enthused. The new products get me excited, but I love adding in those favorites, those older favorites too. So I've painted the tent. I did a flat wash of scattered straw ink and then add just a touch of spiced marmalade in a few spots just for some interest. You'll see there that I did use my heat tool to dry that because you can see these flags are sitting on top of that yellow. And so I didn't want, when I painted those pink, for them to bleed and blend out into the yellow. So I dried that before I moved on to painting the pink. Now, all of the exact colors I'm using will be listed for you down in the YouTube description box below. In fact, everything that I'm using will be listed for you down there. All the Penny Black products are listed and linked to our online store, and all of the other products, if you just scroll down, it'll say other supplies are listed, including the paintbrush, the exact paper, exact colors, ink pads. All of that will be listed for you down below. Now, one thing I really love about this process is that by prepping things sort of in chunks or like pre-prepping all of the sketch envelopes, Then you can just go through your stash, or if you get something new, you can stamp it and right away get to using it. I like to do about 3 or 4 for each sketch, but I also think a fun challenge might be there are 10 sketches in this video series and in the ebook. You could do 1 sketch a month even. You could stretch it out as much as long as you needed to. So maybe 1 week just prepping the sketches, another week just stamping, another week just painting, and another week just putting all the cards together. Or you could do multiple cards in a week or 1 sketch per week. But the idea is to give yourself that permission that it's okay to make the same card design over and over and over again. If you love it and it makes you happy, keep doing it. It is okay. There's like no rules that you have to keep mixing it up or reinventing the wheel. Do what makes you happy. So I love mixing and using lots of different stamps, but sometimes coming up with the card ideas feels a little bit like work to me. So by using a sketch, I just eliminate that part and can focus on the part that is fun for me. So everybody is different, but I just wanted to share that. I think sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to do that. It's easy to get caught up in seeing what everybody else is doing and comparing what we're doing to that, and it is just okay to make something that makes you happy in a way of creating that makes you happy. So for example, I love to paint. I love using the Distress Ink Reinkers for my paint. But if you love colored pencils, follow these sketches and use colored pencils. Or if you love Copic markers, you can follow these sketches with those. So there's lots of different ways. And I'm also going to show you here where I am doing some painting and some cute stamps, but for every single one of these videos, I'm also going to show you a way to give it an elegant makeover. So if you prefer florals, instead of stamping a cute or a kid image here, you could stamp flowers right there. Or you can, if you prefer die cuts, you can use these sketches with die cuts, which I'll be showing you then an elegant makeover with die cuts and flowers. So stay tuned for both. Now, if you're new to watercoloring and you want to give it a try, this is a great way. You could even prep the sketch 3 or 4 times, stamp the same image 3 or 4 times, and practice coloring it or practice switching up the color scheme. See which way you like it. You can paint that tent any color that you want, and it's fun to switch it around and see how different it can look. Say if the tent was red or pink, whatever color you wanted to do. Also, when I show you the painting with the die cuts, that is a great place to start if you are new to watercoloring. It is a very easy way to practice getting a feel for the water, for the paints, for how much water, how much paint that you want. A lot of that just takes practice over and over, getting a feel for what you personally like. But on the die cuts, it's much easier because you don't have to try and stay in the lines. And I think that'll make more sense when I show you how I'm going to use our floral die cuts for that. So you can see here I'm just painting her in just basic colors, not a lot of shading, but it still looks finished. It still comes to life because the actual stamp itself, the illustration, is so high quality and just cute on its own. Now to paint her skin, I used a Toffee Crunch Memento ink pad pressed onto an acrylic block, and I just picked that up off the acrylic block to use as my paint. You don't have to do that, but that's just one way that I like to do that. And I'm just darkening up her jeans. I often start light because I know I can always darken it up. And I just find these stamps are so fun, especially this time of year. They're just happy springtime, summertime feeling to them. You can really build up with these sketches, especially if you're mass producing each sketch, a great stash of cards like for birthdays, just to have ready to go, or you could give them all as a gift, like the blank cards, for someone else to use. So now here are those die cuts that I was talking about. So I've cut these from the Canson 140-pound cold press watercolor paper, the same paper that I stamped that image on. And now I am just going to paint them. I'm still using those Distress Ink Reinkers used as watercolors, but this is a great place to start if you are new to watercolor painting. You love that look. You can just paint right on your die cut. Practice different color combos, mixing and matching. This color here is Evergreen Bough. You don't have to worry so much about an even coverage or obviously staying in the lines. Now I'm going to put a little bit of forest moss sort of near the stem area and at the base of the leaves while it's still wet, and kind of letting those two blend together. I love this die cut. It's called Dignified. And I'm just working on a piece of scratch paper here. And then these flowers are from the Flower Family die cut set. And again, the ones that I have chosen, they are kind of like a whimsical but still elegant looking flower. So you can pick any color you want. You don't have to worry about matching it up to a real flower. You can make it be whatever flower, whatever color that you want, that you like. I put down some picked raspberry, then I put a little bit of barn door red in the middle, and then I'm just grabbing a little more picked raspberry off my palette and adding it towards the outside. While all this is wet, and you can see those colors bleed and blend together, and how it's just easy to play when you're doing this on a die cut. So again, give yourself permission to play. You don't have to be productive. You could just paint a whole bunch of die cuts one day if you wanted to. So here's what I have once I'm done with all of my painting. So these are those panels that I had pre-cut. I've added some new stamps there at the top, an older stamp, and these die cuts. These are from our last release. I really love these die cuts. I've been using them a lot. And now I'm ready to just assemble my cards. So from my envelope, I've pulled out my embossing panel. So this was embossed with our rounded embossing folder, and I am putting some picked raspberry distress ink on top. So embossing folders always come to the rescue if you're making simple cards, because they instantly give interest and make your cards look finished, and I just like them in a tone on tone look. As you can see here, I cut from a little bit lighter pink, and I'm adding a little bit of red and a little bit of that picked raspberry distress ink on top using an ink blending tool and a foam pad. And what that will do is those higher raised areas will get a little bit darker. You'll see them a little bit more, and it just adds some variation to the background. Just, I think, matches up with the painted look of the card. And then I die cut just some clouds to put right up there at the top. So with this design, you can add a little bit of embellishing that extends off of the panel if you want to. You don't have to. So here are the cards that I made following this sketch. Here you can see I added those butterflies just coming off of that panel a little bit, just a little extra something. Here though, I just stuck with that one panel, and I used a die cut sentiment on there for a little added interest. And here is how I made that elegant card. You can use that panel as a base but have all those pieces extending off the top. So really, really versatile sketch. So what I'm going to do here at the end of this video is just put still shots of each card for you so you can get just a closer look at those details and how those items were arranged following that sketch. I hope that you are inspired with this video series and give yourself permission to play. I'd love to know if this sketch is appealing to you. If you use it, be sure to tag us on Instagram or Facebook so we can see what you are creating. We would always love seeing what you are creating with your penny black stamps and dies. And if you're playing along with this series, do a hashtag permission to play, and then we can see all of them coming in together. I will just finish up here with these still shots. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you know when our video number 2 comes out with our next sketch. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, as well as YouTube. Here on YouTube, our blog and our website. And all of that is linked for you down in the YouTube description box below. Happy stamping!